I now present Savannah Guthrie, co-host of NBC's Today Show, as a candidate for the degree Doctor of Humane Letters. As the co-host and chief legal analyst for NBC's Today Show, Savannah Guthrie offers insight on the most important issues of our time, and over the course of her fast-tracked career has gained a well-deserved reputation for being fiercely intelligent, passionate, and a gifted reporter. Prior to joining the Today Show, Savannah Guthrie covered the nation's top issues as the NBC News chief White House correspondent. For her work on the 2008 presidential election, her NBC News team earned the 2009 Emmy for coverage on election night. Savannah Guthrie has a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism from the University of Arizona and a Juris Doctor degree magna cum laude from Georgetown University Law Center. She has shared her experience with the nation's next generation of lawyers as a law fellow at Georgetown University Law Center, where she has taught legal research and writing workshops to first-year students. Today, we recognize Savannah Guthrie as a woman of high achievement who has set and maintained the highest levels of professional excellence. And today, Hobart and William Smith Colleges warmly welcome Savannah Guthrie into our community with pride. Therefore, it is my distinct pleasure, by the authority of the Board of Trustees, to bestow on Savannah Guthrie this degree, Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, together with all the privileges and obligations thereto pertaining. Congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the commencement address, please join me in welcoming Savannah Guthrie.
Good morning, everybody. To President Guerin, members of the Board of Trustees, distinguished faculty and staff, parents and families, and most of all, to the class of 2012, congratulations. Now, hold on a second. I just want to tweet that. I am congratulating the class of HW. I'm sorry, with your generation, if I don't tweet it or put it on Instagram right away, it's like it never happened. You guys are probably going through withdrawals right now, right? Are your phones nearby? Are they under your robes right now? Quick, over there. Get some ice chips and a Foursquare check-in. I see somebody without their phone. Okay, where was I? Yes. Congratulating the class of, is it classes of 2012? Plural. I get it. You have two of everything here. 2 colleges, 2 mascots, 2 sections at graduation, but only 1 college president who plays in a garage band and does songs by Pink. Sorry, that's what Betty from Saga told me. Actually, in keeping with the dual theme, I've actually arranged for 2 commencement addresses today. You are in for a real treat. Coming up next, your national debate champs, Will McConnell and Buzz Klinger, are going to take the stage and debate one of the central and unresolved issues of our time. Whose pizza really is better, Mark's or Cam's? Or should we just blow off? Okay, I hear Cam's. Maybe we just blow off pizza and go for the garbage plate at Joe's Hots? Thoughts? Anyway, I am honored to be with you today. The colleges have a proud tradition of excellent academics. I know we've got Fulbright and Marshall scholars here today. Athletics, go Statesmen and Herons. You have a strong emphasis on public service and foreign exchange. And I have to tell you, I am particularly heartened to see that journalism is thriving here. I know you've got the Herald, but I would like to know more about this student paper called Martini. It's named for a cocktail and is known for its foul language. People, you are onto something here. Well, as your commencement speaker, my main goal here today is to congratulate you, to celebrate you, and in the grand tradition of commencement speeches, supply you with tiny morselettes of wisdom that you will forget the minute you throw those crazy hats in the air. When I started thinking about this speech and what I wanted to say to all of you today, my guiding principle was pretty simple. What do I wish I had known when I was graduating from college? What do I wish I could have told myself way back then? For starters, scrunchies won't always be in fashion. Don't pose for so many pictures holding a six-pack of beer. It's not necessary to take a college-level course in aerobics. Anyway, they do say, write what you know, and therefore I decided to organize my speech today in the most efficient and intellectually coherent information delivery system our society has ever devised. That's right, the local newscast. Isn't it comforting that no matter where you go in the country, the news is communicated in pretty much the same way, right? News, traffic, weather, sports, and a word from our sponsor. So that's what we're going to do here today. Everybody ready? Yeah? All right, here we go. First, the news. I am here to tell you that no matter how scared you are, how intimidating the job market is, how worrisome the economy, how insecure you may feel deep down about whether you really have what it takes, you don't have to settle. In fact, that's the headline. Now is not the time to settle. In fact, I would say right now your job is to dream big, extravagant, borderline unrealistic dreams. And I'll tell you how I learned that lesson. Long before I had my current job, I was working in local television. I was in my hometown of Tucson, Arizona, and I got the opportunity to go to law school at Georgetown. The truth is I had applied on a lark, and I never really thought I would get in, and I was really torn once I did get in about whether to go. I was afraid if I left TV, I would never get back in the business, and I wasn't sure I was really done with television. On the other hand, I was afraid if I didn't go to Georgetown, no law school would ever let me in again. The truth was, I had a dream. I wanted to go to law school, and I wanted to be a network TV correspondent, but I didn't think I could do both. The best advice I got was from one of my old professors at the U of A. After I had hemmed and hawed in his office a little while, he looked at me and he said, "Savannah, think big." Deep, right? Actually, it kind of was. I think the problem with all of us sometimes is we think of all of the reasons we can't do something before we even try. We think small so that we might succeed at that small dream we set out for ourselves in order to avoid failure. Think of what you might accomplish if you directed all that compelling, forceful energy to convincing yourself of why you can do it. In a nutshell, thinking big means conjuring up a vision for yourself. It means taking some time, being reflective, and daring to visualize what it would look like if you could wave a magic wand and be exactly where you wanted to be in 5 years, even if it seems a little unrealistic at the moment. Look, I know we live in the real world, and I am not suggesting that you sit around Opus, over-caffeinating, dreaming big dreams, and turning down any opportunity in the meantime that doesn't live up to some perfect ideal. What I'm saying is think big, dream big, but then be ready to start small. In fact, that's exactly how it works. You start small, and then you work at the small thing like it is the big thing. And that's how you get the big thing. This brings us to the traffic report, which is, be prepared to slow down. The highway of life is long, and if you could go too fast, you could end up hitting a guardrail or something, or maybe you get pulled over, or even a tow could happen. I'm sorry, you get the idea. I'm taking the traffic thing as far as it's going to go. Point is, take your time, don't be in a hurry, and don't think that you have to achieve everything right here and right now. I am here to tell you there are no overnight successes. Okay, Mark Zuckerberg. And the situation. But those are the exceptions. I know this goes against everything you probably think and feel right now, the urgency or pressure you feel to get going with life, take the bull by the horns, start adding to your resume. And I can relate to being in a hurry. When I was just starting out in television, I worked at a small station in a small town. And you probably don't know this when you watch, but when you're the weekend reporter, you do everything. I mean, I shot my own video, I edited all the tapes, I wrote all the scripts, rolled my own teleprompter while I was reading it. That's not that easy to do, I'll tell you. Every day I would go out and shoot a story, and I just had one overarching goal. I wanted to get a good piece to put on my resume reel, which I could then send to bigger cities around the country and try to land that big job. We had a name for this. We called it our escape tape. But this often did not go that well for me. A lot of times I'd get back to the station having done my little stand-up where you're in front of the camera. I'd set up the camera, run around in front of it, tape my report, get back to the station and find out I'd cut my own head out of the picture. Even worse, I would look at my own stories, I'd hear my own voice, I saw my presentation on TV, and I knew I fell so far short of that network correspondent that I dreamed one day I could be. And I'd be in quiet despair, another day lost in a small town when my dreams were for bigger places. But what I now know is not a single one of those days was wasted. It was then that I learned this business inside and out. It made me have a wider perspective on the profession. So when I did finally get that big job, I had done every position in the business and I really understood it. I'm glad the first time I was chewed out by a politician, it was the local politician, not the White House calling. I really believe this. Making mistakes and being bad at something, this is how you get to be any good at all. I know it's hard to hear, but it's true. You're not ready for every big job and every opportunity. Not yet. But this is the point. It's not a good opportunity if you're not ready for it. Here's the truth, and here's why you should be excited. You're going to be ready. You will get there. You've got your degree, and you're on your way. And now, over to Savannah with the weather forecast. Thank you, Savannah. The forecast is partly scary with the chance of rejection. Look, I know it's popular to say you should have self-esteem and self-confidence and go forth brightly into the world. And what I'm telling you today is it's okay to be afraid. In fact, not only is it okay, little fear is probably good for you. And the simple reason is fear often leads to over-preparation. And when you over-prepare, actual failure becomes a much more remote possibility. In fact, having fear and then proceeding in spite of it is where real confidence comes from. It's the accumulation of experiences in your life in which you overcome fear and try something, even if you actually do fail at it, that leads to authentic self-esteem. The truth is we've all missed a grade or been passed over for a promotion or watched as the job we wanted went to someone else. But that's the amazing thing about failure. It's part success. It's actually an essential ingredient. Because you gain courage and you lose your fear when you know, based on your own experience, that you can fail, but you can recover. Thanks, Savannah, for that weather report. I'll be sure to bring my umbrella. Finally, sports. To get to the goal line, be prepared for pain. Okay, there's going to come a time in your life when you just have to go for the goal, right? You have to take that big, giant running leap in pursuit of that home run. And you may be tackled or put in the penalty box. Okay, sports metaphors, not my thing. Go Statesman and Herons. Anyway, larger point, sometimes the right thing to do might make you a little sick to your stomach. There may come a time when, in pursuit of your goal, you're going to have to seek out that uncomfortable situation. This happened to me not long after I graduated from law school. I'd lined up this clerkship with a federal judge in Washington, D.C. It was one of those jobs that law students all over the country had applied for, but I was lucky, and the judge hired me. But a few months before I was supposed to start the job, I had an epiphany. I realized I was still harboring those ambitions to go be a network correspondent. I wanted to tell big stories and be a reporter again. I guess I still had that big, unrealistic dream gnawing at me. But I hadn't worked in television in years and never national news. I had no real reason to think I could get a job in journalism again. On the other hand, I realized the only reason I wasn't trying was because I thought I wasn't good enough and I thought nobody would give me a chance. And I decided at that moment that wasn't a good enough reason not to try. So I went into the judge's chambers, and I'll never forget what he said. "Do you have a job offer?" I said, "No." He said, "Do you have any prospects?" And I said, "No." He looked at me. He said, "I don't understand. Why can't you just come clerk for me for a year and then go pursue that dream of yours?" And I said, "Judge, because I know if I don't do this right now, I will never have the courage again." The next few months were painful. I had nothing. I mean, I had less than nothing. I left a prestigious job and I had nothing. Ice cream helped. Ladies, am I right? Ice cream always helps a little bit. But I held out, and eventually, after what felt like a frightening eternity, I got a position at Court TV, and it was perfect. It was my first break into national news, and I got to cover trials around the country using my law degree and getting the chance to be a reporter again. And around that time, all of you were born. So thank you for joining us for this edition of Savannah Guthrie Commencement Action News. And I think it's clear what we have learned from this report. It's important that you be unrealistic, slow, terrified, and constantly prepared for pain. I send you off into the world. My work here is done. Actually, one last thought on a more serious note. I know these are scary times, and that today is a day of exhilaration and relief and pride and perhaps some light drinking this morning. But for many of you, tomorrow is one of worry and wonder and fear of the unknown. A couple weeks ago, I got an email from a young reporter I've corresponded with from time to time. She's from my hometown, and she's trying to take that next step in her career. In her email, she asked, "Was it ever hard for you, Savannah?" That hit me in the gut. Yes, it was hard. It's still hard. Anyone standing up here can look like they've got it made. Even when you think you've accomplished your dream, sometimes that just means a whole new set of fears and insecurities can crop up. You know, I feel really lucky to be standing here before you today, but it took me 19 years to get here. Along the way, I've cried and worried and been passed over, disappointed, embarrassed, and sometimes heartbroken. And I have been overjoyed and proud and challenged and tickled and awestruck. Do you know what I really wish I told that girl way back when? Enjoy all of it. It is a blessing to be alive. Some people are going to tell you, oh, those were just the best 4 years of your life. No way. Those years are coming from you. And here's a goal for real life, one worth setting and then striving for every single day, to be thankful, whatever your circumstances, every step of the way. And finally, a word from our sponsors, Mom and Dad. You're here today celebrating this wonderful accomplishment because you set a goal and you cared and you worked for it and you made it happen. But also because there are people in your lives who love you and support you and worry over you. Maybe you're fortunate enough to have them with you here today. If so, let them buy you lunch. And call them once in a while, okay? Not just Facebook status updates. That doesn't cut it for moms. And give them a big hug and a thank you because none of us succeeds on our own, and this accomplishment belongs to them as well. So, from my heart, congratulations to the classes of 2012.